Alright YouTubes, in today's video I'm going to be using a spray gun that isn't a starter jet. For the first time on my channel, if any of you are regulars to my channel, you know I've only ever used starter jet spray guns on my channel. It's the only spray guns I've got, and it's the only spray guns I've ever used throughout my whole career of over 30 years. I have used the odd one PORPHIS and years and years and years ago. But everything I use spray gun wise is starter jet. So today I'm going to be using the PORPHIS PRD 815. So a massive thanks and a big shout out to PORPHIS for sending me this spray gun. Nearly 2 years into my channel, and it's the first time that I've been offered to do a spraying related review of a product or a tool. I've done some product reviews on my channel, but it's never been spray guns or anything like that, so I'm really looking forward to this, to be honest with you. So I'll give you a look at the gun. Comes in a nice little box, and you get the spray gun in the pot. Little user manual and a little service kit, which is handy. And yeah, very neat, very nice. They sent the gun out, and they etched it as well. They couldn't quite fit the whole name in, so it's got the Humble paint written on there and a little symbol on there. So they personalised it for me as well. And yeah, this is the spray gun. And first initial thoughts of it off the bat, seems really good quality. It's got 1.3 in it. I think it is designated to clear coat. But with this spray gun, I'm going to do 3 different applications with it. So I'm going to do a wet on wet, I'm going to do a solvent base coat, and I'm going to do high solid 2K clear coat. So what I'm going to paint is this wing. It's my demo wing. I wouldn't say this is a budget gun. It's an in-between. Price is really reasonable, I think. It seems really good quality to me. I must admit it's very starter-like. Very similar looking hole positions on the air cap. The pot looks identical. I'll be using the pot because I haven't got an adapter. Yeah, the colour I'm going to be doing on this wing as well. I've got some solvent base coat knocking around. So a good little test that I've got, it's called Ford Techno Silver. So it's sort of like a champagne-y, goldy silver. So that'd be a good test to see how it lays down. It's all MIPA, so I can have a good comparison. I'm going to use all products that I've used through my starters. So it'd be MIPA F37 wet on wet, MIPA solvent base coat, and I'm going to use MIPA CX2 clear coat, which is their sort of budget clear coat. It's just 2-to-1, no thinners. So it'd be a good demo, I think, for people that are DIYing, doing it from home. You're going to be using solvent base coat, the majority of you, and maybe cheaper clears. I'd say this is a mid-range gun. So you know, again, DIYs and people doing it from home will probably be using this type of gun. I've seen other reviews on PORPHIS guns, and they look good to me. I seem to be last in line to have got my hands on one of these, but it is what it is. I've never used this. All I've done is ran some thinners through it and looked at the spray pattern, so I'll give it another little blast out with some thinners. I've never used it, so however it comes out, so I can't play with settings at the minute. One thing I do like is sort of got clicks on the fluid control, so you can sort of measure it a little bit more, I suppose. So it's 2 bar, so I'll just go, it says 2 bar max on there. So I'll just go 2 bar on the wet on wet. I normally go a bit lower, to be honest with you. So maybe 1.8, what I normally do. What I probably normally do is just go for my normal settings like I do on my starter, and then again, that's another good comparison. This is going to be really interesting for me. It's not I'm just a snob and I'll only use starter. It's got nothing to do with that at all. It's just I know the brand so well and I've used it for so long that I won't spend money just to try to see. I know you can get demo guns, but I've got such a good relationship with the starter reps, and it just all works for me. Everything I use is starter. Even my air hose is a starter, my respirator, all of it. So I'm not an old stick in the mud. Won't change or anything like that. It's just what I'm used to, and being self-employed and painting jobs for my own customers. I don't want any issues arising from flicking over to other guns and stuff like that. And they just work and they're reliable and they are expensive. But I'm not a SATA snob. I'm a SATA fan, but I will give anything a go. So, like I say, I'm really looking forward to this, and yeah, let's see how it performs. And as well, some of you eagle-eyed regulars to my channel will notice that I'm sporting a new look. Right then, YouTubes, my first spray gun review ever. And yeah, really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed making this video. To be honest with you, I couldn't wait to give that spray gun a go. So I'm just going to do everything as I normally do it. Get everything prepped properly, degreased properly, and give it a true thorough test. So I use solvent base coat, like I said in the intro on this. Just because probably the reason I'm on water base coat. That's what I use day to day on all the jobs that we do here. But sort of using the same spray gun for water and solvent based products, they sort of not compatible with each other. I know I could clean the gun out properly and thoroughly. But obviously water-based guns, I use water-based gun cleaner. I did sort of try to use the same gun years and years ago to do water-based coat and solvent-based coat, and yeah, I got issues with the cleaning side of things, so I thought I'd just do it all in solvent. So I'm putting the wet on first. I use a 1.4 on 1500B, which is SATA's budget gun. So on this PORPHIS, I just kept with the same settings of what I use my other guns with these products. So I normally put wet on about 1.8 bar. So I do drop the pressure a little bit. Where wet on wet's a bit of a thinner product, like a thinned out primer. I find like reducing the pressure, I can get it on the film on there a bit wetter. So I kept it the same. So I kept it full fan, full fluid, 1.8 bar. And it went on nice. It went on decent. Put a decent sort of flat film on there, and it sprayed no problem at all. There was no issues with it at all. Straight off the bat, I used my normal technique. I just done it naturally how I normally paint with any of my other guns, and it went on fine. So 1.3 in this PORPHIS, so it's pretty much a decent setup for wet on wet. So I'm mixing the solvent base coat, MIPA solvent base coat. That thinner that I've got there, it's not like a normal 2K thinner or base coat thinner. It's called stabilising thinner. It's sort of milky, and it just helps with laying metallics down and cloudiness. And you have to give it a good shake before it goes in there. So it's a 2-to-1 mix. I do everything on the scale, so I've done it off the scales in weight, not in volume. So far so good. I quite like this. It's got a swivel, but it locks from side to side, which, yeah, I like a swivel because it don't. I don't have a gauge on the bottom, so it don't bother me that much. But obviously, gauge on the bottom, it could be annoying because you have to keep turning it round. But having a swivel stops the airline from wrapping up so much, so it will swivel around. So, yeah. SATAs have swivels, obviously. Hope I've got a good view. So I'm going to go 2 bar. It's full fluid, full fan. Just going to go on with the solvent base coat now. I'm not a regular user of solvent base coat. It's very few and far between. So I haven't got a dialed in procedure application wise of putting solvent base coat on. So I just go for wet coats until it's covered really. there's quite a variation on coverage with solvent base coat depending on the colour. So I just put a wet one on first, sort of get that dried out a little bit, and then put another wet one on there. It's pretty much covered with those 2 wet ones. And then drop coat, there's not really much on the data sheet. Obviously with the water base coat, on the maple one you drop it down to 1 bar for your effect coat, but it doesn't suggest that, but I do drop a little bit of pressure out of it. So I'm just putting 1 wet coat on now at 2 bar full fan full fluid. I do like the ease of solvent base coat, the drying side of things. Use a bit more product I find with solvent base coat, but this gun laid it on there no problem. Decent wet film build. If you can sort of see it, I don't know if you can see that, there is a little bit of a sort of mist patch in my overlap. I found it was a decent sized fan. It's probably a little bit narrower than what I'm used to with my SATA jets, but I just found there was a sort of a couple of little dead zones, more bottom than top really, in the fan pattern. That's really all I noticed with this gun at this point. A little bit of sort of flutter top and bottom on the fan pattern. So I suppose a bit, you know, a bit more like it's got a wet spot in the middle, but a decent sized fan. Bit different to what I'm used to. So I just put that first coat on there, pretty wet, and I just used the gun to dry that off. Solvent base coat dries off really quick. I know you blowing it, you're skinning it a little bit. You are skinning it a little bit. But I just want to get that solvent base coat on there, and I will give it. I do give it a good amount of time afterwards to gas off. It pretty much looks covered on that first coat. A little bit patchy looking. This sort of colour is going to look like that. So you sort of correct it at the end. I'm not doing any blending on this job, so you know I could just get it on there wet. I find solvent base coat on blending well with myself, me personally, that, you know, if you've got to sort of overblend something, or you do overblend something, you get a bit of stacking up and a bit of sand piling, bit of roughness and a bit of texture in your base coat, which can have a detrimental effect on your finish, and you know, can be seen again with metallic standing up in a blend area. So just got another wet coat on there, and it, you know, this gun had no issues at all. Like I say, I don't think this is geared up for clear coat, this gun, but it didn't seem to have any issues putting that base coat on. Wet base coat, yeah, looks a little bit mottly, little bit patchy, but the film itself, the film build looks nice and even, nice and fine. So it's just the characteristics of the solvent base coat and the metallic. So like I say, I've not really delved in with procedures and my application method, because it's very rare I use this MEPA solvent base coat. It's mainly on some maybe big jobs and stuff. I've done a couple of jobs on my channel with it. So I get all the coverage on there, try and keep it nice and wet. And drop coating, I just drop it down a little bit. So I've done that at 2 bar, which I would do with my regular guns that I use. And then I just dropped it to sort of 1.8, and not like really dusting it on there, but you know, drop coating it over there with a little bit of wetness, not too dry for the first drop coat. Again, I'm force drying it here, which probably wouldn't recommend to do. Just let it dry naturally is always better, especially with high metallics. You know, if it's a bit dusty on there, you may start blowing metallic around a little bit. And then same again, it's at 1.8, a little bit drier this time. I probably maybe should have done a 3/4 coat, I don't know. Like I say, I'm so used to water base coat that I'm out of touch with solvent base coat. Second drop coat on there. force drying it. But everything about this gun, the trigger action, the way it felt in my hand, didn't feel abnormal or alien to me at all. It felt normal. There was like, I wasn't like working hard and compensating for anything. I was, yeah, it just felt natural in my hand. No issues with it at all. And a very light gun as well, not heavy at all. Very light on the trigger, very smooth on the trigger, and yeah, felt great. It was a pleasure to use, to be honest with you. So it's all drop coated. I give it a good sort of 10 minutes just to let it gas off naturally and let all the solvents evaporate from it, and just using the PORPHIS 6.2 sort of budget fast dry clear coat. Good test. I know how this clear coat behaves with my other guns. It's just 2-to-1 mix, no thinners, fast hardener in it, so everything quick, fast and budget. So again, off the bat, like I said, there was no leaks on this gun, no issues with it, you know, between the air on the trigger and the material coming out. That was seamless. You knew where you were with it. And I whopped a nice wet coat on for the first one. I thought I was just going to go straight in hard with it and sort of push it really. Probably first coat. This PORPHIS 6.2 is a little bit of a washy clear coat. They are some of the cheaper fast dry stuff. Not so much of a build with them. So I walloped that on there, to be fair. It's quite fast with the trigger, to be honest with you. It's only a small wing, obviously, but put it on there and I thought, oh, that's not far off falling off of there. It was quite a wet coat, so I got that first coat. I left that a good sort of 10 minutes really. I would normally be quicker than that. So on this second coat, I just wound it in quarter of a turn from full trigger. That's how I set my guns, from full trigger. I work my way in, so that's how I measure it anyway. And just wound it in to just give it a little bit of restriction, and went straight in with another full wet coat. No problem at all. Quite a fast gun, to be honest with you. I've been so used to 1.2s for such a long time. I know they can vary between manufacturers of guns. But yeah, I find a 1.3, what I'm used to, is normally a bit too heavy for me. Probably because I'm a heavy painter, so I'm more inclined to get run. So put out a good amount of product, but not a consuming gun product-wise or air-wise. Definitely didn't use more air than my other starter jets, and here's the end results. There we have it. First time I've used a different make and spray gun for about 30 years, 28 maybe, who knows. So I'll give you my thoughts on it. Also, I've got no other guns to compare it to apart from starter jets. I'll give you a quick look at how it's come out first. I've done no playing with the settings. I've just start with a setting, and that's the reference point. So I'll give you my overall thoughts on it. I'm really impressed with it, to be honest with you. Wet on wet, went on fine. One thing I've noticed in it, there's a bit of flutter in the fan pattern, a little bit of inconsistency, and it showed. I'm not one for putting patterns on bits of paper and all that, I look at it, how the fan looks, and when I'm looking at it when it's going on. And yeah, bit of flutter, top and bottom. I'd say bottom more than top. So it sort of, I had a little bit of inconsistency in overlap on the wet and wet. I've noticed that. I've done everything on this job. I've done sort of budget really. Solvent base coat is sort of budget, and this is the cheaper MIPA sort of budget clear coat. So I know how it behaves, and it's not got the ultimate gloss, and you can texture wise it's a bit finicky it does draw in and shrivel a little bit, and it's the CX2, this MIPA 6.2 is a fast dry, air dry budget clear coat, so you expect these characteristics from that. That was a 1.3 on there. I think that gun is geared up for clear coat. I think they have got base coat, I can't remember now. I have looked on their website at the other guns and I can't remember. I've been asleep since then. So I think this is geared up for clear coat, but I've done 3 different applications with it and it behaved fine. Is there any cloudiness? No, not really. There probably is a tiny little bit, so maybe the base coat setup might be a bit better for that. Be interesting to try it with water base, because obviously I'm a water base user. That's all I use really is water base. So I put two wet coverage coats on of solvent base coat, MIPA solvent base coat, and then a couple of sort of drop coats, a little bit down on the pressure. I had full fan, full fluid, base coat went on at 2 bar, wet on wet went on at about 1.8, 1.9 bar, and the clear coat went on at 2 bar, and it was all full fan, full fluid for all the applications. Apart from the second coat of clear coat, I just turned in quarter of a turn from full fluid, so a little bit restricted. It's a 1.3, so I think they do a 1.2, I'm not too sure, so it'd be interesting to see what 1.2 would go on like. I think 1.2 would probably suit me better. Yeah, probably the only negative is I noticed the fluttering on the fan pattern, but a decent sized fan pattern. And I'll tell you what my first thoughts were, really easy gun to use. So I think it would be great for do-it-yourselfers, DIYers, and people that are learning. It's quite controllable. It is easy to use. Starter jets can be a handful. You'll get in my biased, honest opinion, you'll get the best OE matching finishes and consistent finishes out of starter jets, the later ones for definite. But they can be quite a handful, and you really have to dial in your technique with them. Obviously I'm used to using them, but this, I think it'd be great for people learning and people that are just doing it for themselves. It's not just good for your DIYer or if you're just learning. It's a professional spray gun, and professionals will get ample results out of it, and at that price range it's fantastic. And that one gun done all them applications, so just one gun would do it all. You may need a primer gun with a little bit of a heavier setup, but I'm sure they do a primer gun, I know that, so you could get yourself that, and that one gun for wet and wet base coat and clear coat, or buy the 2 base coat and clear coat and you're set. That will do you, honestly. I am impressed with it, I really am. So that's it, that's the PORPHIS PRD 815. First time I've used any other spray gun. There's the results from it, really happy with it. There'll be a link in the description if you want to purchase one, and I'm sure they've given me a discount code, but I'll double check. If not, I'm sure they will. I can't remember, like I say, I've been asleep since then. So yeah, link in the description with discount code, I think. If you want to purchase one or have a look for one of their other spray guns. I'd like to try the base coat gun and do a comparison, maybe do water base coat and clear coat again with that gun. 1.2 I'd like to try as well, just to see what the differences are. And I will do another video with this gun. I'm going to buzz that wing off and I'll do 2K direct gloss with it and see how that goes on. So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, really appreciate it. Like, share and subscribe and all that good stuff, and a massive thanks to PORPHIS for sending that gun out. Really enjoyed doing this review because, you know, I'm a sprayer. I like doing the reviews and products and all that, but this really suits my channel. So again, massive thanks to PORPHIS for sending out that gun for me and giving me the opportunity to show you guys what I think of it. Hope you like my new moustache. It's going to be staying for a little while, and we'll see you again in the next one. Look after yourselves. Cheers.